All right. Hey, gang. Good to be back at it. We're just we're in a transition point right now. Second year coaching staff, and you blink and you open your eyes and 19 freshmen and sophomores. And after 3 weeks on the ice, that's what we are. We're in transition, and that's the challenging part. But that's college athletics. That's going to happen. It just happens to be what we're losing 12 players and bringing 12 new players in. I talked about the eyeball test. Our guys had a great offseason in their training, so we look strong, we look quick, big improvements by a lot of our players that we wanted to see big improvements, and that's exciting. Freshmen look very good, and there's 12 of them, so they're going to make an impact in your practices. So that's the challenging part. Then the coaching will take over, and granted, we've only been 3 weeks, but we had a really good power play last year. They're all gone. That unit that led us, there's not one of them here. We were number one in the conference in penalty kill. They're all gone except for Zulsdorf and Nanny. We had really good goaltenders. They're not here. We have all new goaltenders, and those little things like that keep popping up in your practices of inexperienced, really like our talent. We like our guys, and then you get to this critical part of a game when we're getting ready to play here in the next few weeks, that we've got some work to do to develop critical moment hockey to winning hockey games. Penalty killing, playing a lot of young centers, special teams, goaltending, and that's going to come in time. And that's the good news. The good news is the answer's in that room. They're just not experienced yet, and and we can't, as much as we try to duplicate it in practice, you do the best you can, but we need games, and so Sunday's going to come at a great time for us to play our first game, start to get a look at this next version. I'd love to answer questions. Yep.
Bob, nobody was too surprised to see Tyler Nanny with a C on his sweater, but Sammy Walker's a rarity in the fact that he's a sophomore as a co-captain. What was seen in him that allows him to be a team leader in just his second year?
Well, one, infectious personality, and you all that are around him see it, and we see it every day. Just big-hearted, extremely hard work ethic. And probably what you have is in a situation like this with 19 freshmen and sophomores, he's probably the leader of that group. And that's where a lot of, I'm sure that's where a lot of the votes came from, and a lot of that, and only, 8 or 9 upperclassmen and that's what you'll get in leadership. It can come by committee, it can come by one person, and we're going to be leadership by committee. Now, 2 players clearly were wearing a letter, but we're going to need other leaders in there to help guide this group, and we're going to lean heavily on a leadership group. Ryan Zulsdorf, McManus, Reedy, our guys are going to have to help out in that. So, and we just told Sammy, we'll leave all the media attention to Nanny, and he can handle, an older guy, the pageantry that comes with some of the captaincy. You just be Sammy Walker, and you just work and compete and smile and lead that way.
Where have you seen Tyler grow as a leader and a player?
From my standpoint, very well liked by everybody, and really cares deeply about this program. The things that I see in Tyler, and surprised, not surprised, but overwhelmingly, where there was an older senior, an older upperclassman, he had a wide range of so just wasn't the 8 upperclassmen. He had many votes leading down into the underclass, so he's made an impact throughout the entire lineup.
Bob, with LaFontaine in goal, he's got a couple of years' experience at college and then played junior last year. Have you seen the progression, and is he looking like he's ready to be a a full-time goalie?
I can't. I won't say I can't. Full-time goalie is going to be how they perform and what they're going to do on the ice. But boy, is he mature. And I mean, and all of us that have been around goaltending matures and gets better. It was pretty simple. He probably went to college too early when he went the first go around, especially in that position. He carry. I mean, he's a extremely well-conditioned athlete. I mean, he looks the part at how hard he works in the weight room, and he is a well-put-together athlete. Has a great demeanor about him, but that's 2 years at college, playing in Penticton last year, having great success. He's got a confident aura about him. Are we excited? Yeah, we're very excited that he's here, and we think for our situation, losing 3 goalies and not to have 3 freshmen, and to have a guy like this experience join that crew, it sure worked with Robson, who transferred in here and was an outstanding player, and I'm not putting that comparison on that yet because that's going to be proven on the ice, but there could be some similarities where he is ready to perform at a high level. He's most ready now to have success, and I think we're going to get a chance to see it right off the bat.
After last season's record that was sort of roller coaster, as you had described it, what were some preparations or some discussions you had as like a team or a coaching staff over the offseason to sort of move forward from that, especially with so many young players?
Well, that was the roller coaster was really a lot of the first part of the season, and we seemed to find level ground, January, February, March, that we became a good hockey team, and we knew it, and the guys knew it in the locker room. But the minute we played our last game, it was, Pitlick signs and Robson sign, and that's 12. You lose almost half your roster. So our discussions immediately in the off season, go by, and that's college athletics. Out with the old, in with the new, and you sure like the perfect scenario where it's 5 or 6 guys depart, and that's not the case right now. So our discussions were, I'll use this term, and I don't have it down yet. I mean, you're kind of starting over a little bit in with this group and identify. When I say starting over, new identities in key roles with our hockey program. That was our discussion, and a lot of it for coaching staff. You're waiting to get started because you have to get started with the group, give them experience, put them in there, and we're going to sort it out. There's going to have to be a tad bit of patience with this group while we're going through that process. So that I don't know if I'm answering your question, what you were looking for, but we were sitting waiting for this group to show up this year and see what they looked like and the work they put in the off season and get to work with them.
Bob, you talked earlier about how much more comfortable things feel in year 2, with the coaching staff and with the players. Is there an example of just how they speak your language now, or maybe something last year that wasn't there that's in place now?
If I don't have an example right now, but I think it's a terrific question. And I think most of it would speak to me and how I feel a year later, and I hope that's the case. You think the players too that are returning, looking back at their coaching staff, I think there's a real strong relationship right now. And a year ago at this time, there was excitement, but it was which way is this going to go? I'm much more comfortable. I clearer vision. Been through the league, and that you're going through a new league and new opponents, and I feel good. I mean, I have a good feel right now. I been doing this a while, so I know where we're short right now, and I'm good with it. We're gonna be fine in time. You just, I'm gonna have to keep a lid on you guys while we go through this. You guys are gonna have more of the questions if we get bumped around a little bit with our schedule, but we're gonna get through it. We're gonna be fine.
Last year, you said the UMD series kind of tricked you on terms of what you need to work on as a team.
Yeah.
Do you have a better idea this year, or with so many young players, is it still you need to see what happens in the game?
Well, the trick came because then we had the bye, we didn't play for 3 weeks, so we're not going to get tricked this year because we're going to roll games, and that's what we need. We need to get into that, the game this Sunday is one first step at Colorado College, back with Niagara, kind of looking at those, those first 5 opportunities to put a jersey on and get out there and really get a feel of combinations. Like, think of that combination of what's going to work together, who's going to be our, like today getting ready for practices, penalty kill. We're starting with all new penalty killers, and talk about a critical part of how to win a hockey game. And right now, as coaches, and you're going through it, like, we've had 2 practices of penalty kill. I'm just using, to paint a picture, and we'll have, by the time we play Colorado College, we might have, 4 more opportunities in practice. But until you play some games and start to figure out, who fits best, and that's who are the pairs that really can do well in the penalty kill, both as forwards and defense at an elite level. We inherited last year, like, Ramsey and Remenko had been killing since their freshman year. Okay, well, Don goes, they're really good at it. So he put them out, they're really good at it. And they were really good at it. And so who's really good at it right now? We don't know yet. And that's going to take us a little bit of time to get through that. And until we get 4 games, 6 games, 8 games, we're going to figure that out.
Big Ten coaches picked your team 5th in the preseason poll. You feel you might be flying on the radar a little bit?
No, I mean, probably we're picked where you lose that many players. We got a lot of work to do to get above that, and Gopher hockey needs to be above that. And but that also tells you the strong league we have. And good luck picking our league the start of every year. Okay, let's put a board up every year, and then we'll look at it at the end and how it turns out. And I've always said picking and I'm not. I've been around a long time. I've always said picking preseason standings to the end of the year has been silly, but I know it's part of the pageantry of college athletics, and it's a football thing, and hockey joined in it, and fans love to banter it around, and guy used to pick us last all the time, and right there, and we'd prove him wrong, and we just got to get ready to play the start of the year.
Bob, since you brought up a former schooler you coached, if you don't mind, 5 years ago nobody knew who Blake Lazat was. Yesterday he was named to the LA Kings roster for opening day. Just great success story. What do you remember about him?
Well, when you recruit these players, and then when they show up and you start working with them, you've every once in a while there's just something special that, wow, and he's got that special and got that wow. And if you could teach this, if you could bottle this to all your athletes, it's talent level, of course, you're getting to our level because you have talent, but it is, the work ethic, the tenacity, that he was doing it in junior hockey when he did it the moment he stepped on campus, and I think we all hate to see players leave too early, and he's a special talent. And the words that we've heard, very encouraging things that are being said about him out there in LA, and they don't come around all the time. But that's what you hope, is that when you get those kids too, it teaches the other young guys in your locker room how you have to be, how you train, how you work, and from a compete level. And he is off the charts and all those, and he seems to be bringing that. It's been every level he's ever been at, so it's cool to see.
You mentioned last year at the end of the season that Walker, Burke, McLaughlin needed to spend some time in the weight room and get bigger. What have you noticed about their play after the season they had?
I don't know if I ever use the word bigger, because that's one thing I try. They need quicker, stronger, faster, and then with that usually gets a little more oomph and a little stronger on the ice. They're all three at a different level. And a lot of that, because we have a large sophomore class as well. They're at another level athletically, and it's not just when you saw them in the eyeball, but we got on the rink, Ranta at another level, and that was encouraging to see when you see guys take steps like that, and then their teammates see it, and they're stronger, they're more and it does when you train like that as an athlete, and you put the work in, you get a confidence level because you know you've paid your dues. And they've got that right now, and I think they're going to show it from day one.
Branson's a guy who maybe got a little bit smaller and stronger and faster. What plays do you notice him making now that he didn't last year?
Boy, it's really a confidence thing. I mean, he started at the World Juniors, where he led the World Junior camp in scoring. We saw that from afar. Then we start on the rink, and he just has once again, it's just that confidence level when an athlete gets it. I mean, we all see it in sports. There's times you're at the plate, that ball looks like a beach ball, and you can hit it anywhere. And he's in a real good place right now, and we have to do everything to keep him right there, because that's the maturation process of an athlete taking the next step, and that's these guys never, I'm never surprised anymore. That's one great thing in this sport, and for me in coaching, is these athletes, they do it, and it's just exciting to see when you see them do that.
Bob, at certain points last year, you used 5 forwards on the power play.
Yep.
You've got 2 pretty heralded incoming defensemen in Jackson Lacombe and Ryan Johnson. It's early, but are you seeing stuff in them that runs the show from the blue line and potential that they could be special teams guys for you?
Yes, seen a lot of it, and you're going to, and you're going to see those players that you mentioned grow into real big roles. We have to know, don't put them in too early or too, we have to judge that. Sometimes if you put someone in too quick and then they weren't quite ready, they needed another few weeks, then it's actually another setback. It's just right now for us to keep blending this together and find the right time to slip a player into the right spot. And there's another, we've had young guys in the past that they're going to be here. They're gonna put their game at a certain level as a freshman, but they're not going to do it October 11th, maybe November 11th. And sometimes as coaching, we're going to hold them back just a tad. And I'm not talking about I'm just talking in general. That with 11 freshmen, we know that there's a group in there that you're going to see at a whole different level in mid-November than you are now. In December, they're going to be different than they are now. And that's that part where, last year, Sheehy was going to take an immediate role and never change from it. I mean, he had earned that and got to that point. We are not at that point with a lot of guys, but they're going to get there. And that's part of the exciting part about coaching.
How do you feel about the mix of your non-conference schedule this year? It's got a lot of Minnesota flavor. You got old WCHA rivals to start it off.
Yeah.
Reminds me a lot of my last 13 years before I got here. So we got to, we've got a challenging schedule. Our conference. You look at our conference last year. Right at the end, Ohio State, I think with 2 weeks to go, we were within 3 points, and they broke it open right at the end. But there was not a lot of separation from 1 to 7 last year, and I think that's going to be something very common from year to year in our conference. And now you take on Duluth, North Dakota, Colorado College, our tournament with all Minnesota teams. We got a challenging schedule, but I think people in our state want to see that, and they're going to get it this year.
Bob, last year you said coaches didn't know players, players didn't know coaches. Are you in a similar spot this year with the 3 new goaltenders?
Yeah, I mean, the goaltending is a little different. You've heard me say it. I've said it too. I've got a son that's a goalie, and when he wants advice, I just say you got to stop the puck. That's all I can tell you. Your coach will like you, your teammates, and for our guys too. We'll pick a starter. They're going to pick who the number 1 guy is. Coaches just pick starters. I can tell you in the 3 weeks we've been out, we talked about it this morning, and I asked I go, any reports on your feelings? We'll talk as a staff on goaltending, and our staff go, we like them. Right now, one of our guys was down for a week with a little injury. He's back. There's something there. That's what you see today. I think even by November, we think that as inexperienced as we are, and you'll hear the word come out of a young roster that we have the right roster for where we're at with our program right now. And it's how fast can we get to a comfort level, and that includes the goaltenders. And I wish I could tell you that we have the magic wand to snap it, and within 2 weeks we're playing at an elite level. We don't have the magic wand. It is a process to get there, and we have to follow that process. But we will get there.
Going to try and play all 3 of them on Sunday?
Yep. You know me well.
Got time for a couple more?
Coach, with all the freshmen that you have coming on, and some of them will play right away, some of them will take time. What's your philosophy for getting in and buying into your process? They're I got to word it right here for you on that question. I don't know if my philosophy is going to go into the, because this is our team right now. We have 27 athletes on our team. Those freshmen are going to play. They're going to be out there. But where we fit them in the order is that's the are they on the number 1 power play? We have some freshmen that are true number 1 power play. I'm using this example, players. I've always been caught. If you throw, some can handle it from day one. Just give it to me, coach, and they're going to find a way to get there. Some need time to build up to be a number 1 power play player, or a number 1 goaltender, or a first pair defenseman, or their role. You have to build yourself into that, and that just takes time. The work ethic you put in every day, building confidence, games for evaluation back on games and what we do. You have to go through that. And that's the process I talk about until they're ready. There was years back, and we had this player really excited about him, and we put him on the first line on the first weekend, and it was a bad weekend for whatever reason, and he went in the dumps. Not for anything we did. We put him too high in the saddle to start. So then we had to set him back for a couple of weeks, okay, and build him back up. Got to the point, and I learned a lesson. And he's played a lot of games in the NHL now, and you just have to be cautious. And sometimes that's that crystal ball that we have to be around our players more to understand. We're also limited right now, where we can only be on the ice 4 hours a week right now.
So I've said we've got the right players. We do. We need time to sort it out and let it sort out and us sort it out. Coach, mentor, and sometimes they're not going to hear us. They need to go out and get walloped by the team they're playing to realize, okay, now I get it, coach. And then that's part of the process to get to the next level. And I wish there were an easier way, but there's not. And this is one of the fun, challenging parts of that, you know, we're going to get there.
We'll take one more, guys.
Mount Royals coach Bert Gilling played at UMD, coached at Bemidji State for a few years. Do you have friendship with him at all?
Yes.
And what do you expect from a Canadian school coming in?
Well, Bert did a terrific job at Bemidji, working with Tom Serratori, and then wanted to run his own program and went up there. And all indications are very organized, professional, diligent at what he does. He's going to do all the right things to run a program. So they're going to be a first-class group because that's what Bert is. And if you know Bert, and he knows college hockey by playing at Duluth and being in our system down there, that was a great addition for their university to have him there. So it was great that they're going to play Mankato on Saturday. And we'll play little film clips to kind of see what they're up to. And others, we have nothing. And they'll get nothing on us because you can't even go back and watch last year's film on us. We're going to be a whole different look. So our guys are ready to play a game. So Sunday can't get here fast enough. All right.